Since publishing my previous videos, I have come to the understanding that people don't understand the parlance rectangle nearly enough. A parlance that is incredibly important for us to understand the value of City Pigeon. Because yes, when it was revealed, people immediately started going crazy about it, posting memes and comics about how the most powerful card in Magic is never the giant Schlobloff demon from another world that does 1,000,000 points of damage, but it is instead the 1-mana creature that allows you to eat garbage for free. People were also sharing that comic specifically because it says eat garbage for free and it's a pigeon. It's a straightforward joke. A rectangle is any card or token. And now that I say that, you must also understand that I am a native English speaker, so there is the implicit assumption that everything I say comes with more exceptions than there are actual adherents to the rule. Human language is madness. Like and subscribe. The quest for 1-mana cards that generate multiple rectangles is long and storied. Blood Fountain remains one of the best examples of it, second only to Gilded Goose, for being both a mana dork, a creature that can block, and generating a food token, which is more valuable than a blood token. And if the minutiae of that bores or terrifies you, I'm sorry. This is what competitive Magic is about. But the hubbub and fervor is all easily understood when you see an example of it all clicking together perfectly. Cauldron Familiar and Witch's Oven, Spiteful Hexmage and Nurturing Pixie. An incredibly cheap card with an effect balanced around the fact that it eats rectangles, and an incredibly cheap card that generates a rectangle incidentally. Usually, generating a rectangle like this is mana gated to 2 mana. Bumbleflower's Sharepot is a colorless common in standard right now that every commander deck can play. 2 rectangles for 2 mana. That is, as we would say, the going rate. So finding things that cost half as much is obviously a big deal. Where does City Pigeon enter into this equation? Why, simply because it does not check how it leaves the battlefield. Usually your rectangle generators are few and far between because you need them to generate the rectangle on entering the battlefield so that you can return them to the hand as part of a loop instead of, say, sacrificing them and having to go through a much more extensive process to recover something from a graveyard or exile zone. This is why, say, Cryogen Relic is as fantastic as it is. Not just that it draws a card upon entering, but also that it can be bounced to the hand to complete its value proposition. City Pigeon is good because once it's in a loop of that kind, it functions very nearly the same as if it generated a food token upon entering. A single 1/1 flying body is not a meaningful thing to have lost if our game plan is, rather than aggro, pigeon looping. And so we come back to our original comparison. City Pigeon is, as part of an engine, somewhere around Gilded Goose territory, which is insane. And yes, it is always the cute, adorable creatures that end up breaking Magic somehow. I hope WotC recognizes their opportunity and continues the pattern of 1-mana birds that generate food tokens, if only so that when we eventually get an Australia set, that they can print an overstated 1-mana magpie that sacrifices itself upon entering unless you feed it a food.